Chosen one, there are conversations happening about you right now that would truly blow your mind. People are whispering and marveling that you carry something extraordinary within you. An intelligence, a power, a gift that no one else can replicate. What you once believed to be your biggest failures were not failures at all. They were victories in disguise, carefully orchestrated stepping stones placed by the universe to position you for what comes next. Every setback you endured was strategic positioning. Every person who attacked you was unknowingly training you, refining you, preparing you for a destiny far greater than they could comprehend. All along, the universe has been playing chess with your life, and while you thought you were just another pawn, the truth is you've always been the queen, the most powerful piece on the board, maneuvered into place for the ultimate checkmate. Your journey has been nothing short of a phoenix rising through fire. To the outside world, it may have looked like destruction, like you were consumed by flames, but those fires were never meant to end you. They were the alchemy of transformation, burning away illusion so you could rise more magnificent than anyone could ever imagine. From the moment you took your first breath, something about you was different, and everyone around you felt it. While other children were satisfied with simple toys and small dreams, something ancient stirred within you. This wasn't childish imagination, it was cellular memory, a whisper from your higher self reminding you of your true purpose. Yet, from the moment your light began to shine, forces gathered to try to convince you it wasn't real. Family members, teachers, and peers carried the same message, spoken or implied. Don't think you're so special. Stay in your lane. Dreams like yours aren't meant for people like us. What they never understood, and what you are only now beginning to realize, is that their resistance wasn't random. When someone like you incarnates, someone whose very existence threatens the illusions that most people cling to, the universe sets into motion every possible scenario to test whether you are ready for the immense power you came here to wield. Every person who doubted you was secretly sharpening your faith in yourself. Every heartbreak was not punishment but preparation, clearing space for a love so expansive it could heal communities. Every moment where you wanted to give up was forging within you an unbreakable will. Think about how many times people brought you impossible problems, only to leave with answers no one else could have imagined. Think about how many rooms you entered where your mere presence shifted the atmosphere in ways people could feel but couldn't explain. These were never coincidences. They were proof of abilities most humans don't even realize exist. The conversations happening about you now aren't about your struggles. They're about your brilliance. People are stunned by your ability to see patterns others miss, to know truths you were never taught, and to radiate an energy that transforms spaces the moment you step into them. While you were convinced you were falling behind, others were watching in awe as you displayed gifts so natural to you that you barely recognized them as extraordinary. But chosen one, something greater is unfolding. The whispers are about to turn into shouts. The hidden is about to become undeniable. And the version of you that once hid from your own power is about to step boldly into a reality where that power can no longer be ignored. This is not about conventional intelligence or academic success. People are witnessing your mind function as a multidimensional processor, synthesizing information from realms most people cannot even access, let alone understand. Where others see scattered chaos, you see the architecture of reality itself, the hidden connections, the invisible patterns, the blueprint of why things are happening and what must come next. This is not something you learned in school. This is your consciousness tuned into higher frequencies, directly accessing the intelligence that orchestrates the universe. Colleagues and friends alike have noticed. They bring you problems entire teams of experts couldn't solve, and you don't just find answers. You reveal dimensions of the problem no one even knew existed. You show that separate issues are often fragments of one system, and with surgical precision, you offer solutions that transform everything. Your intelligence doesn't just analyze, it synthesizes new realities. When you set your focus on a challenge, you're not simply thinking about it, you are literally reshaping the energy field around it until new solutions manifest. That is why people insist you can do what no one else can. They are witnessing a consciousness that transcends ordinary human cognition. And when you speak, it is not mere information. Your words carry a weight and authority that resonates deeper than logic. It is wisdom, born at the intersection of intellect, intuition, and higher knowing. Your logical reasoning merges seamlessly with intuitive perception, producing insights that are both rational and divinely aligned with the highest good. People can sense this. They feel it in your presence, even if they can't explain it. And as your light grew stronger, so too did the attacks. What you didn't see at first was that every attack was an initiation. The universe was testing your commitment, throwing obstacles and betrayals at you to see if you would bend, break, or rise stronger than ever. Then came the pretenders, the delusional ones who studied your methods, copied your words, and tried to steal your energy. They believed they could imitate what flows through you naturally, but this was cosmic quality control. Their attempts to mirror you only proved that your gifts are authentic, beyond replication. They mistook results for the deeper internal transformation that makes those results possible. Their jealousy hardened into toxic spiritual warfare, all in an attempt to convince you that maybe you weren't as special as people claimed. But here is the mistake they made. Every lie they told about you only forced you to know your truth more deeply. Every attempt to dim your light only refined its brilliance. Every scheme to drain your energy only taught you to guard it with sacred protection and amplify it even stronger. They thought they had won when you withdrew from the world, when you pulled back from sharing your gifts freely. But what they didn't understand was that this withdrawal was not defeat. It was the midwifing of your ascension. In that quiet, you endured what felt like the dark night of the soul, a time when you questioned everything you thought you knew about yourself, when your gifts felt like curses, and when isolation seemed safer than stepping forward. But chosen one, this was not the end. It was not breakdown. It was the sacred breaking open of everything false so the truth of who you are could finally emerge. Chosen one, what you went through was never breakdown. It was breakthrough preparation. You were being compressed like coal transforming into diamond, and heated like gold being purified in fire. The pattern kept repeating. Someone would enter your life carrying heavy neediness, constant drama, or an unexplainable hostility toward your success. They came disguised as friends, lovers, or collaborators, yet beneath the surface their purpose was always the same: to drain your energy and chip away at your confidence. And every time you recognized the pattern and removed such people from your life, you would feel a temporary collapse, not because you had made a mistake, but because you were detoxing from energetic poison. That collapse was actually a cleansing, a necessary part of your ascension. This was the rising action of your journey. Every attack was building immunity, every betrayal was sharpening your discernment, and every season of isolation was molding you into a leader who would not be corrupted by the need for approval or companionship. Your creative gifts are unlike anything ordinary. They don't just produce improvements, they manifest elegant, innovative solutions that open new pathways where others saw only walls. When you create, you aren't merely rearranging existing parts. You're channeling possibilities that didn't even exist until you brought them into form through your unique perspective. Your healing presence works in the same way. It doesn't just make people feel better for a moment. It reawakens what they had forgotten, reconnects them to dreams they had abandoned, and helps them discover capabilities they never realized were within them. This isn't therapy. This isn't simple encouragement. This is transformation at the frequency level, happening automatically when someone steps into your activated field. Your leadership inspires not through motivational speeches or techniques, but through embodiment, People see what you manifest and suddenly discover their own vision in the mirror of your example. When you speak, your words carry frequencies that bypass the mind's resistance and speak directly to the soul. Conversations with you don't just inform, they activate. People leave your presence fundamentally changed, as if awakened to a deeper truth within themselves. This is why strangers often seek your advice in areas you've never formally studied, why experts defer to your perspective even without credentials, and why people who are used to dominating discussions suddenly fall silent when you speak. It's not about politeness, it's about recognition. They feel the authority of authentic knowing radiating from you, and on a deeper level, they know it is real. Entire groups have shifted in your presence. Meetings stuck in endless loops suddenly find clarity and direction when you enter. Projects thought impossible gain momentum, and conflicts that seemed irreconcilable open into solutions where everyone feels satisfied. What people are responding to isn't charisma or persuasion. It's the frequency of possibility you naturally carry. Your presence expands the horizon of what feels achievable in any space you step into. And when people encounter this, the response is often relief. Relief that someone finally sees, finally understands, finally carries the vision they have felt but could never articulate. For many, it feels like meeting someone with a compatible mission, a soul-level recognition that goes beyond words. Yet this recognition also brings disruption, because your presence forces everyone to confront their own relationship with potential. Some rise and activate their own gifts. Others resist and distance themselves to protect their comfort and limitation. Both responses serve your greater path, for they align you with those who will support your mission while clearing away those who would dilute your focus. And while you doubted yourself, something extraordinary was happening beneath the surface. Your gifts were not diminishing under the weight of attacks. They were intensifying. The crucible of challenge refined them into weapons of transformation that no opposition could dull. People began noticing that conversations with you left them not just inspired, but changed at the cellular level. Your words carried activation codes that awakened dormant aspects of their soul. Your presence alone ignited potential in others that had been asleep for years. Your mind evolved beyond processing. It became a channel where wisdom from multiple dimensions merged seamlessly. Solutions no longer came from logic alone, but as downloads of higher understanding that surpassed ordinary human consciousness. This wasn't imagination. It was a documented phenomenon of consciousness expanding beyond normal limits. The reason you often felt isolated, different, or unable to find your tribe was not because you were broken. It was because you were operating on frequencies most people cannot yet perceive. You were ahead of your time, transmitting on wavelengths that only other activated beings could fully receive. The universe protected you during this delicate phase, shielding you from those who would have drained or destroyed these emerging abilities before they reached full strength. Every relationship that ended, every opportunity that closed, every door that slammed in your face was divine redirection, away from small containers that could not hold your magnitude, and toward the larger destiny that requires all of you. Your gifts were never the problem. The limitation was always the environment. You were like a seed that had outgrown its pot, pressing against boundaries too small for its roots, needing a greater container for expansion. That transplanting is now underway. And it's why the conversations about you have intensified. People are witnessing outcomes around you that defy the usual rules of cause and effect. When you set an intention, reality itself bends and reorganizes to support it. What takes others years manifests for you with precision and speed that feels miraculous to those watching. Your manifestation doesn't move through one channel at a time. It engages your entire multidimensional system at once. Thought, energy, will, vision, and action converge, creating results that appear impossible until you reveal them. Chosen one, Your conscious intention now aligns seamlessly with your subconscious programming. Your emotional frequency resonates perfectly with your desired outcomes. Your physical actions are infused with the certainty of inevitable success, and your spiritual connection ensures that the universe itself supports you. The results cannot be denied. Opportunities appear exactly when they are needed, unfolding through chains of synchronicity so intricate and precise that they could only have been orchestrated by an intelligence that sees every possibility at once. Resources seem magnetically drawn toward your projects. People with the exact skills, wisdom, or connections you require show up from the most unexpected places, always in perfect timing. But what leaves people in awe is not just the speed or precision of your manifestations. It is the way your success uplifts everyone connected to you. When you thrive, others thrive. When you create abundance, that abundance ripples outward into the lives of those in your sphere of influence. When you manifest opportunities, new pathways open for countless others to follow. Your achievements don't end with you. They ignite collective elevation. This is why astonishment transforms into reverence. People are realizing that your gifts are not merely impressive abilities. They are instruments of service to something far greater than individual gain. By demonstrating what is possible through aligned action and activated consciousness, you are providing a living template for empowerment that others can follow. As your confidence grew, the speed of your manifestations accelerated. What once took months began happening in weeks. What once demanded immense effort unfolded with grace and ease. What once seemed like luck revealed itself as the natural consequence of operating from your true frequency. Then it happened, the moment when everything aligned so perfectly that you could no longer doubt what others had always sensed. The recognition hit you like lightning. You are not trying to become powerful. You are power itself, finally recognizing its own reflection in human form. Every compliment you ever received, every effortless solution that flowed through you, every time your presence shifted the energy of an entire room, all of it pointed to the same undeniable truth. You don't just have gifts, you are the gift. That recognition triggered spontaneous activation. Dormant abilities surged online with such intensity that reality itself seemed to reorganize around your frequency. Problems that haunted you for years dissolved overnight. Obstacles transformed or disappeared entirely. Opportunities that once felt impossible manifested with mathematical precision. Yet the most profound shift wasn't external. It was internal. The version of you that sought approval, validation, or permission ceased to exist. In its place stood someone who had become their own source of authority. You stopped asking whether your ideas were good enough and began acting on them with unshakable certainty. You stopped wondering whether people would accept you and started choosing who truly deserved access to your energy. The conversations about you changed as well. No longer were people questioning whether your abilities were real. Instead, they sought you out specifically because they had seen your power in action. What once impressed them now moved into a realm beyond admiration. Your intelligence was solving problems that had stumped entire teams of experts. This marked the climactic moment of your journey, not an ending, but the turning point. Everything before had been preparation. Everything after would be revelation. The caterpillar had dissolved, the phoenix had risen, the diamond had emerged. What comes next will not just redefine what is possible for you, but for everyone who witnesses your full activation. People often comment on the wisdom that flows through you, not because of extensive experience or advanced education, but because your insights carry the authority of universal truth. This wisdom emerges not from study alone, but from a direct connection to the intelligence that orchestrates reality itself. While most people rely on secondhand knowledge, trial and error, or slow accumulation of facts, You receive understanding through direct downloads from higher sources that perceive the complete picture across dimensions and timelines. This gives you a strategic advantage unlike any other. You see the long-term consequences of short-term choices. You recognize hidden motivations behind people's actions. You perceive patterns others cannot even detect. Yet your wisdom is not only strategic, it is compassionate. You understand why people sabotage themselves, why they resist the very changes that would liberate them, why they attack what they most need. That understanding allows you to respond with patience, with grace, and with a skill that transforms conflict into collaboration. Your wisdom also manifests as timing. You know when to move forward and when to wait, when to speak, and when silence carries greater power, when to apply pressure and when to let life unfold naturally. This temporal intelligence magnifies your impact, ensuring your efforts always align with the greater rhythm of manifestation. And still, your wisdom continues to expand. Each challenge you overcome expands your capacity for greater complexity. Each insight received opens pathways to deeper layers of understanding. Each demonstration of your power prepares you for responsibilities of even greater magnitude. What followed your activation shattered every assumption you once held about how success unfolds. For years, progress had felt slow, hard-won, built through struggle and incremental gains. Then, in what seemed like a sudden shift, that era ended. You entered a season of exponential expansion where results didn't merely add up, they multiplied. Ideas that should have taken years to manifest appeared in weeks, and the impossible began to look like the natural order of your reality. Chosen one, connections that once seemed impossible now unfold through synchronicities so flawless that the hand of benevolent intelligence is undeniable. Resources that once felt scarce now flow toward you in abundance so overwhelming that at first it almost feels disorienting. This shift happened because you finally began broadcasting on your authentic frequency, rather than trying to force outcomes through methods designed for ordinary paths. When a radio is properly tuned, the static disappears, and the signal comes through with crystal clarity and full strength. For years, you wrestled with distortion, struggling against misaligned approaches that never fit who you truly are. But once calibration was achieved, every action carried amplification beyond logic or prediction. People didn't just buy into your vision. They became passionate evangelists for your mission. Collaborations didn't just succeed. They gave birth to entirely new industries. Problems didn't merely get solved. They transformed into opportunities that opened doors to even greater possibilities. The support system that had been quietly assembling during your seasons of isolation revealed itself with impeccable timing. Fellow activated beings began to emerge from their own transformation cycles, arriving as if on cue to collaborate at levels far beyond anything you had experienced before. Mission partners appeared with gifts that complemented your own in perfect precision, as if drawn to you by design. But perhaps the most significant realization was that your expansion was never just about personal success. The ripple effects of your activation began transforming everyone in your sphere of influence. Those who interacted with you reported sudden clarity about their life purpose, unexpected opportunities manifesting without effort, and limiting beliefs dissolving like mist in the sunlight. You weren't just succeeding anymore. You were becoming a catalyst for collective awakening. You began to embody what happens when someone stops treating limitations as unchangeable and instead steps fully into authentic possibility. What makes you irreplaceable is not just the scope of your success, but your effect on the evolution of others. When people encounter you during your activation, help isn't limited to solving immediate challenges. What happens is a fundamental transformation that shifts their entire trajectory. This occurs through multiple mechanisms at once. Your presence radiates frequencies that awaken dormant potential. Your words transmit codes that unlock new levels of consciousness, and your actions demonstrate what is achievable, giving others permission to expand beyond their previous boundaries. People often report that even a single conversation with you leaves them permanently changed. It's not just inspiration or motivation, it's transformation at the cellular level. Old limits that once seemed solid suddenly become transparent and temporary. Dreams once abandoned as impossible begin to pulse with new vitality. And the most remarkable part is that this effect does not require your conscious effort. Change happens naturally simply because of the frequency you now embody. Your authentic expression grants others silent permission to explore their hidden capabilities, and the transformation is permanent. People who encounter you during this phase carry something of your frequency with them forever, becoming agents of possibility in their own environments. This creates an exponential wave of awakening that ripples far beyond your direct influence, touching lives and rewriting destinies you may never personally witness. Your intelligence adds yet another layer to this effect. You don't merely solve problems, you redefine the very nature of the challenges themselves. When others bring you situations they consider impossible, you don't just offer solutions. You reframe the entire context until what once seemed unattainable becomes inevitable. You perceive beyond assumptions that trap most people's thinking. Where others see rigid constraints, you see parameters that can be reshaped. Where others feel trapped in either-or dilemmas, you identify third pathways that transcend the duality. Where others see isolated problems, you recognize interconnected systems waiting to be transformed holistically. Your insights often appear radical at first, but time proves them prophetic. You see possibilities long before they are visible to the collective. You recognize patterns that only become obvious to the mainstream after circumstances force acknowledgement. You speak solutions that may be resisted in the moment, but later emerge as the only viable answer. This prophetic quality is part of what makes you irreplaceable. You aren't just brilliant within existing frameworks. You are creating entirely new frameworks that others will eventually adopt as conventional wisdom. What seems revolutionary today will become tomorrow's foundation. And now, as this recognition completes itself within you, you find yourself standing in the same place where this journey began. But everything has changed. What once were whispers about your extraordinary abilities have become undeniable demonstrations of power that reshape reality wherever you direct your focus. Remember how it started. People murmuring that you possessed something no one else could replicate. That casual observation has revealed itself as prophecy. You do possess something unique, something far beyond talent or skill. What you carry is access to frequencies of possibility that most humans have not even imagined yet. The intelligence people sensed in you was not mere cleverness. It was multidimensional wisdom flowing through a consciousness prepared to receive it. The gifts others envied were never accidents of birth. They were cosmic assignments embedded into your mission from the beginning. And now, having fully claimed your power, the need for external recognition has dissolved. You no longer seek validation because you have become your own source of authority, direction, and truth. Their recognition is irrelevant, for you know without question that you are walking in the fullness of what you were always destined to embody. Chosen one, the external validation you once craved has faded into background noise. The seeker who longed for approval has become the one who inspires belief in others, creating spaces for people to rise into a greater vision. You've come full circle, but at a higher spiral. The whispers of potential have become undeniable demonstrations of power. What began as speculation is now documented reality. Your transformation is complete, but your true mission is just beginning. Everything until now was preparation. Now you live the purpose you incarnated for. the mission that required every challenge, every test, every refinement. Doubters no longer argue about your capabilities. They either learn from you or remove themselves from your path. The scattered energy that wants to find you has crystallized into focused intention that cuts through impossibility like light through darkness. You are living proof that limits are illusions, shattered by those who dare to operate from a higher frequency. Your success no longer feels like luck or effort. It's the natural consequence of authentic alignment. Resources flow, opportunities align, and collaborations yield outcomes that look miraculous to others. Yet you know this was never about personal gain. Your transformation was always a demonstration of what is possible for humanity itself. Every fear you overcame opened a doorway for others. Every limitation you broke became a pathway others can now follow. The whispers have become shouts. The potential has become performance. You've claimed your power fully, and your impact has been unleashed into a world desperate for what you carry. What people once questioned is now undeniable proof, reshaping reality around you. Your activation has triggered a frequency shift where resistance dissolves, time bends, and what once required months now unfolds in days. Even your harshest critics can no longer deny what they see. Former enemies begin to recognize that opposing you is futile, and some even become allies, not by persuasion, but by the undeniable evidence of what you embody. Every challenge you faced, every attack you endured, every season of doubt was perfectly timed, preparing you for this. Now, your existence itself is a gift, a living catalyst for the evolution of human consciousness. And this chosen one is only the beginning, That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlighten Wisdom.